Hi, everyone. I have graded your goals and objectives and provided feedback in the rubric as well as in the inline grading tool. When you open up your Blackboard site, make sure that you're not just looking for your points and the minimal comments that are going to be in the rubric, but look for the inline grading comments that will actually be on your goals and objectives paper. There's lots and lots of detailed feedback, so make sure you're reading from both sources. Even if you were highly successful in this assignment, you still have revisions to do. Everyone had areas of growth and improvement, so go back in and make sure that your final draft that you'll turn in next week reflects all of the recommendations that were provided. I want to remind you, your goals should directly line up with your nurse educator competency. They should be in this book, or you can find them online. They should be very clearly related to who you will be at the end of your practicum. So it's role development. That's what your goal is supposed to be related to. So for example, a good goal for leadership, which is a role of the nurse educator, would be that at the end of Nursing 620, the graduate student nurse will demonstrate proficiency in the role of a leader in an educational setting. Now, I have leadership experience, so instead of using the word proficiency, I would use advanced skill in that goal. Notice how that's very broad. It's addressing me being a leader in the educational setting. So from that point, if you come up with 4 or 5 of the roles that you really want to fine tune, then you go in and you create objectives that will help you arrive at the development of that role. If I'm going to facilitate learning, I'm going to develop assessments and curriculum. There's lots of pieces and parts to your objectives that will go under an appropriate goal. If you start out with a broad goal related to the development of a component of the role of the nurse educator, your objectives will line up. So really think through, do my goals first start out that way? And then are my objectives related that are directly under that goal? Are those objectives directly related to that goal? There were lots of you that commingled things. You had a great goal, but then you had multiple goals, multiple objectives that didn't directly relate to that goal. So you'll either want to delete those or move those or put them under a new goal that is more appropriate. I want to caution you not to write objectives that are actually tasks. If you can accomplish it in a single setting and check a box, just think about something that you would put on a to-do list. If you can do it once and check it off and remove it from your goals and objectives, it's more likely to be a task than an objective. So it becomes too narrow and too simplified. So you're going to want to remove tasks and really focus on objectives that require processing thought, the critical thinking, application, things that are a little bit more expounded. So the other thing I want to remind you is I gave you this tool. It's your Bloom's guide. Make sure that you are using verbs that they make sense. Sometimes we see a verb that sounds good and isn't in the right level of Bloom's in application or higher, but the verb actually doesn't make sense with what we're writing. So make sure that the verb you choose makes sense with what you're doing. I know sometimes you feel like you're using the same verb over and over and over again, but if the verb works, that's okay. Just make sure you're using verbs that are at the application level of Bloom's or higher. Remember that if you are teaching let's say you're teaching in a technical school, and all of your students are going to come out with a certification, not actually a degree, you do not want to be using things that are from the evaluation section of Bloom's. You're going to really want to stay in the application section because the evaluation of Bloom's is too high a taxonomy for a student in a technical environment. If you're in a hospital-based setting and you've got the novice to expert span of learners, you're going to want to be careful that you provide application, which is appropriate for a hospital-based nurse level of Bloom's verbs. But you also want to stretch those that have been in industry for a long time so that you create a more higher level of Bloom's in your mix. Just know who your audience is and make sure that you've lined those up. I think that's about it. The only thing I want to tell you about next week is that your final draft is due. Once you have submitted your final draft, you will be, as long as it's been approved, I'll reply to your Post-it final draft and let you know that you've been approved to go ahead and start your practicum. If you complete the final draft and you still have not met expectations with that final draft, I will create a plan for you and I to have a deeper level of conversation and more feedback to get you up to speed pretty quickly. I will not make you wait an entire another week to get your goals and objectives squared away. So either by next week, you'll either get feedback that you're good to go, or we'll have a plan in place to get you up to speed quickly. Some of you have already extended that offer to help you get some clarity if you were really struggling with how to start with these. Just make sure you've read the feedback. Next week, not only is your final draft due, but you do have a discussion board. Be thoughtful about your time frames. Know that those first posts have to be done on Thursday, the last ones by Sunday, and really think about this assignment allows you to think about your domains of learning, which is a really cool assignment. Be creative and really spend some time to think, how can I create a teaching intervention that covers all three domains of learning? And that requires some fancy footwork, but I have full confidence in you. I hope you have a great week. Remember that tomorrow is Tuesday. It is our opportunity to vote. I hope wherever you are that you're going to take the opportunity to vote. I know this has been a contentious time of year for a lot of us that are very interested in politics, but our heart hurts because of a lot of the stress around them. So I hope you prayerfully consider your opportunity to vote and that you avail yourself to that opportunity. This Friday is Veterans Day. If you are a veteran or love a veteran, I want to thank you and wish you well for this week and for the rest of your service. As you go through this process, know that I'm here. Send me an email, touch base. Know that we'll get you up to speed and get you where you need to be in whatever manner that takes. You guys have a great week. Take care.